Hi, welcome to Travel Tales. I'm Judith, and I share experiences that happened during a lifetime of traveling. This is episode 3. To hear what happened to me, you have to listen to episode 2. But anyway, I was in Ajijic, Mexico for a period of time, and I had fallen. After about 3 days after the fall, I started having bad headaches. So I called the doctor that I had been seeing sporadically for some salmonella, and he told me to come in immediately, which I did. There were 2 doctors present. One doctor, who I hadn't seen, looked at me and said he thought my nose might be broken. I didn't think so, but again, I was so bruised and everything that I really hadn't paid much attention to my nose. And the other doctor took one look and said, "I'm afraid you might have a brain bleed." Well, that kind of stopped me short in my tracks because I was alone down there for this period of time. And immediately my brain starts whirling around. Who's going to contact my son? How am I going to handle this? And I could feel the color, except for the bruise color, just drain out of my face. I was really scared. So the doctors both got up and said, "Come on, we're going to take you to the hospital for a CAT scan." So we went out to the parking lot and got in a car, one of their cars, and they drove over. That was only about 4 or 5 blocks away to the hospital. And as we get out of the car, they're each on one side of me, holding my arm as we walked up the steps and into the hospital. I think they were really kind of worried I was going to, stroke out right there. They took me into radiology section of the hospital, and there was a woman there, and she said, "Okay, but you pay in advance for a CAT scan." So I said, "Well, how much is that?" And they said it's $190, which, if you've had CAT scans in the United States, you knew this was a bargain. So one doctor left, but the other doctors escorted me into the room where they're going to do the CAT scan. And the radiologist who was going to read the CAT scan was there, as was the technician who would administer the CAT scan. So there was a lot of support around me. And the radiologist was asking me how I had fallen, how this had happened, where it hurt, etc. And so I had the CAT scan. And as I came out of the CAT scan, the radiologist was right there. She'd already looked at it. She said, "There's no problem with your nose." She said, "You don't have a brain bleed. Everything is fine." For about 40 minutes or half an hour maybe, I had been so scared, and it was taken care of immediately. They checked it out for what I consider a very reasonable price, and I was fine, and they sent me the whole CAT scan, which I was able then to forward to my doctor in the States. So I felt very cared for. I find that medical personnel is not just really good, but they are so caring, and they're so, in a way, loving. They're just wonderful to you. I've never had that kind of attentive care as I've had in Mexico.